I have some general numbers, but I've also put together a science team, and that science team is actually going through the engineering blueprints and potential designs for the scrubbers and the bigger desalination plants. We're talking about the biggest ever built. And in that process, it's an engineering study is what it's called. And in that process, we're going to come up with exact numbers in terms of the numbers of people it's going to take to build the plant, the number of people it's going to take to operate the plant, and the number of people it's going to take to maintain the plant. So all of those numbers are going to come in great detail. So we will revisit this issue, 3 or 4 or 6 months down the road, and we will add exact numbers to that question. But just from our point of view right now, we know, for example, that the scrubbers are going to be running 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And to build the scrubbers, we're going to need both contractors and subcontractors. So we are literally going to need hundreds of people when you count the entire supply chain. Everything from the pipes and the nuts and the bolts and the computer equipment and the holding containers and the filters, and I'm just randomly pulling bits and pieces off the top of my head, but there are thousands of bits and pieces that one needs to put a scrubber together, and we are talking something on the order of anywhere from 500 to 1,000 people at least would be needed simply to put the plant together. So we've got dump truck drivers, we have backhoe operators, we've got excavators. Any building project you can imagine, that's what you would sort of equate it to. And then once we have the scrubber built, which, by the way, they can be in the middle of no place. So there are many communities across America which are small and isolated, and because the air circulates around the planet, we can easily put these scrubbers in the middle of very low densely populated areas and provide them with the jobs. But for the goals that we're trying to achieve of cleaning up the atmosphere, that's fine, because it's going to, wherever we put the scrubbers, the air is circulating around the planet, eventually we're going to clean it up. So we're going to put these scrubbers in the middle of nowhere, 500 people to 1,000 at a minimum to put the scrubber together. Then we're going to need a couple of dozen people to actually operate it, because it's a 24/7 deal. There's going to be a control room, for example, and the entire plant's going to have to be monitored. There are going to have to be tweaks along the way, and then we're going to have a repair staff. So we're probably talking about another dozen people at least as the repair staff, because things, when you build them, 6 months later they start falling apart, especially when something is being used in such a heavy industrial way. So there's a process of constant use, constant repair, constant operation. So every single scrubber is essentially going to directly, we can say safely, it's going to directly employ 1,000 people